We are going to move from a resilience to a natural brilliant state.
We're all here to move our Black communities forward.
We think our children have to have the best. It's all about discipline.
How are we going to discipline ourselves so that we're able to save, so that we're able to make good financial decisions?
Recognizing that there's a road ahead if you manage the road in front of you.
The decisions that you're going to be making today in your lives where it comes to money will affect you in the future.
Discipline is one of the things that we often learn, sometimes by our environment, or sometimes we're forced to do it, and sometimes we don't learn it at all.
Stores want to get us in and out and get our money, and that's it. It's a game, so you have to be really wise to the game.
Do you know what it costs to run your home on a monthly basis?
Land acknowledgement. As we gather together, we acknowledge the sacred land on which we reside. It has been a site of human activity for 15,000 years. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat and Petun First Nations, the Seneca, and most recently, the Mississaugas of the Credit River. The territory was the subject of Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Iroquois Confederacy and Confederacy of the Ojibwe and allied nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, this gathering place is still the home of many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work in the community on this territory. We are also mindful of broken covenants and the need to strive to make right with all our relations. Last but certainly not least, we acknowledge the people of African descent who were brought here against their own will or in search of a safe place to live their lives and raise their children. Reconnaissance des terres. En nous rassemblant, nous reconnaissons la terre sacrée sur laquelle nous résidons. C'est un site d'activité humaine depuis 15 000 ans. Cette terre est le territoire des Premières Nations Huron-Wendat et Petun, les Scéniques et plus récemment les Mississaugas de la rivière Crédit. Le territoire était sujet de l'alliance de la ceinture Wampum plat avec cuillère, un accord entre la Confédération Iroquois et Confédération des Ojibwe et des nations alliées à partager et à prendre soin pacifiquement pour les ressources autour des Grands Lacs. Aujourd'hui, ce lieu de rassemblement est toujours le foyer de nombreux peuples autochtones de toute l'île de la Tortue et nous sommes reconnaissants d'avoir la possibilité de travailler dans la communauté sur ce territoire. Nous sommes également conscients des alliances brisées et de la nécessité de nous efforcer de guérir toutes nos relations. Dernier point, mais non le moindre, nous remercions les personnes d'ascendance africaine qui ont été amenées ici contre leur volonté ou à la recherche d'un endroit sûr où vivre leur vie et élever leurs enfants.
This webinar provides illustrative information with respect to the subject matter covered and does not represent an official opinion or position of the Black Business and Professional Association. The BBPA makes no representations, warranties, or guarantees as to assume no responsibility for the content or application of the material contained herein, and especially disclaim all liability for any damages arising out of the use or reference to or lines on such material.
Good Saturday morning. We are back. Community Space is back finally after the summer break that we had, and we're back for another new exciting episode this morning of Community Space. And we're going to be coming back to you every Saturday morning, same time, same place, right here on Community Space. Tomorrow belongs to people who prepare for it today. And on Community Space, that is what we are doing. We are preparing our community in the sense of financial literacy, and also in terms of the social politics and everything else that happens in our community right here on Community Space. So welcome. And as we always say, it's never too late to tell a friend to join us here on the program that speaks the language of the community. So it's been a minute And we're so happy to see all of our guests here with us today, and also all of you joining us here for the first time in this new season of Community Space. And while we have you here, we definitely want to know where you're joining us from. So if you've got some time, just please do chime into the chat and let us know where you are joining us from. What part of the world are you joining us from? And again, it's never too late to tell a friend to join us right here, right now. So it's been a minute. Last time we were here, it was July, and so much has gone on here at the BBPA and around the world and in the African diaspora. We're going to just touch base today on some of that's we've just haven't had an opportunity to talk about. And also we're going to hear what's exactly happening here and all the exciting things that are happening here at the BBPA. So without further ado, we're going to get started. And we've got two amazing guests with us this morning. We've got the CEO of the Black Business and Professional Association. We know her as the person who makes everything happen. So good morning, Nadine Spencer. How are you?
I'm excellent, Roderick. How are you?
In all things considered, blessed and highly favored. Can't complain. So we also have somebody who's no stranger and an entrepreneur extraordinaire, and she is Danielle Spencer. Good morning, Danielle. How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. How are you, Rod?
Again, I'm blessed and highly favored, all things considered. So yes, it's been a minute, and I'm just going to be checking the chat here before we get started with Nadine. So we've got people all the way from New Brunswick, St. John's, New Brunswick. Good morning, St. John's. And we've also got Shelley checking in from Milton and Denise from Whitby. So let's hear who else is in the house this morning with us. But let's get to you, Nadine, and see how things are going, because so much has happened throughout the summer and obviously now going into the autumn season with the BBPA. So I don't even know if we've got enough time to go through all the exciting things that the BBPA is supporting community in, and just making these pathways and these conduits for our community just to not just survive, but to thrive. So what's been going on, Nadine?
Well, a lot has been going on, Roderick, but before I start into what's been going on, I'm actually going to share my screen very quickly to give shout out to one of our community leaders that's here, and that's Dr. Pamela Appelt. I'm sharing my screen. Can you see her photo?
We can see Dr. Pamela Appelt. Yes, we can.
So hello, Pam. It's really great to see you here. So I just want you to know this woman is a community stalwart. I met her, Pam, how many years? We did Jamaica 50. I served on a committee called Jamaica 50. And you know what's one of the greatest things in the work that I did on that committee? We worked together with individuals like Sandra Whiting, Jewel Halstead, Donald McLeod at the time was the person who helped with our legal, so many other individuals. And you know what's interesting, Roderick? We managed that event in such an incredible way, but not only was the event managed in a great way, it was just the way we collaborated as a group of Black people around a purpose and a cause, and brought a lot of visibility, a lot of success, and a lot of awareness to the celebration. And in the work that we do, that's how we should always try to represent and work with each other. So Pam, I'm so glad to see you here. Thank you always for showing up and for being part of our community and all the work that you do. You continue to do stellar work. Pamela is also on the board of LLI, Lifelong Leadership Institute. And I think Pamela is also on a special health committee, right, Pam? Pam, I don't know if you're able to unmute. Are you able to unmute and share a little bit, Pamela? I know I'm completely putting you on the spot. And I think you're in Barcelona, actually. So I'm not sure if you're able to share. But anyway, Pam, thanks for being here. So Roderick, back to what you're saying, there's a lot going on. I'm very thrilled to be part of this organization where there's so much opportunity for Black entrepreneurs in this country. Did you know that this marks my first year as interim CEO at the BBPA? And over the year, we've done so much. We've had many programs. We've started the Rise Up pitch competition, which is now a full year program. And at the end of it, 8 women will get $10,000 each as they build, grow, scale their business and have the plans to do that. We also have BADES, Business Advisory Implementation Development Services. That continues to go very, very strong. I had some numbers, 859 applicants. We have provided 333 services. Imagine 333 services, of which a lot of that are business plans and financial statements. So everything to enable the entrepreneur. And with that, we have serviced over 250 projects within BADES. And then we also have the street entrepreneur. And I'll let you talk a little bit about the Basel Street Entrepreneur, another dynamic program at the BBPA. And then we're starting a new program called Capital Skills. What Capital Skills does is provide loan. We prepare entrepreneurs to get a loan, whether it's through FACE, which is the Federation of African Canadian Economics, which is the loan fund, which is part of the Black Entrepreneurship Program, or any other financial institutions. But we prepare Black entrepreneurs for the loan, whether we help them with their business plans, the financial statements. But what's unique about Capital Skills is it provides other services like, mental health. We look at the Black entrepreneur, and we know that in order to do your business well, you have to be well. So in this program, we actually provide mental health supports, wellness supports. We provide coaching, we provide mentoring. So it's really providing all the tools that we as Black entrepreneurs need to succeed. And, sitting in the seat, doing the work that we do, it is a very inspiring opportunity. All the opportunities we have is very inspiring, and I'm very proud to be part of an incredible group at the BBPA. I do not do this alone. We have a dynamic board. We have Ross Kadas, our president. We have our treasurer, Michael Pinnock. And Michael, if you're here, we always want you to come on. Dynamic financial guru. He truly is. We have our corporate secretary, which is Carmen Hansen-Hoyt. We have our governance director, Carmen Santiago. We have, of course, you, Roderick, our membership director, and, Rustam Southwell, who I had a meeting with this morning at 8 o'clock downtown. So we have a dynamic group that supports the work that we do. And of course, our staff, we have Francis Del Sol, our VP of Partnerships and Outreach and Procurement. We have Abu, who is part of the BADES team, and Mac. And we have Lewis, who's part of our team providing admin support. We have Michelle Halsal in Little Jamaica. We have Stephanie Sani Edwards, who is bossing all the programs. And we have Cordelia, who's the receptionist at the office. So you can see we are really building a team of individuals to work with entrepreneurs one-on-one to provide the resources and the help and the supports really that we all need. Then we had the stinting in the summer. We had the summer stinting in Little Jamaica. And again, I should share that presentation, right?
Yeah, I was just going to start with that, actually. Just, I know we have so much going on.
I'll pause there. So much happening, but I'll pause.
Let's just reel back a little bit, just for the people who weren't able to join us at that Sinting Festival. This past it was in August, actually, right?
It was August. Yes, it was August.
August, yes. So what was Sinting? What was behind Sinting? Because it was obviously a large event, and it was our first time doing it here at the BBPA. It was in the heart of the Black business community in Toronto. So what was Sinting all about?
And I'm going to try to pull up the report the presentation so I can show it to you. Sinting was an event. It was a something in Little Jamaica. It was an event, a festival to really bring businesses back to Little Jamaica. As you know, the BBPA is working with 70 businesses and more in Little Jamaica, from Marley all the way up to Kiel. And Sinting, when we did a lot of roundtable discussions with the businesses and finding out what they wanted, they asked for an event. And so we hired Sandra Whiting, a renowned event planner within the Black space. And she, worked with her team, Michelle Halsal in the Little Jamaica office, to put on the Sinting. So the Sinting, we had cultural activities. We had Heritage Toronto. They did a walking tour of Little Jamaica. We had storytelling in the various stores. And we also had programming in the various stores. And so what this did was brought people back to the Avenue in the businesses to support the businesses. And then of course it ended with a 3-day festival of food, music, dance, more cultural items on a stage. And we had, I'll show you the picture in a minute, many individuals from all over the city that came down to Little Jamaica. And what the businesses reported is that they had experienced growth, experienced traffic in their businesses. And that's proof point to the work that we do. And we want to do more of that. It's to build the economic sustainability of our business community. And that's really what this program is about, is financial literacy. And you can see that supports comes in all different areas, whether it's a festival, whether it's coaching, whether it's mentorship for your business, whether it's writing a business plan, and all those supports. And I'm very pleased to see Chris Alexander. Chris, can you come on for a little bit and share the spotlight with me? I know I'm putting you on the spot, but Chris, you're always ready. So Chris is one of our partners, and Chris works with us in the BBPA. And he's, on the street with the businesses, providing one-on-one services, wraparound support to some of the businesses that we work with. And he is a service provider within our BAIDS platform. Chris, it just says you have to turn on your camera, and you have privileges to do that. And Chris, if you're able to just come on and just talk a little bit, just share a little bit about the story in terms of the businesses in Little Jamaica that you've been working with, and just, from the financial lens. So Chris also is a financial professional. Thank you, Chris. And you've got your little scruffy beard, which looks very nice.
I think you're on mute there, Chris. You're on mute, my brother.
So we've just asked him unmute.
He's unmuted there now.
I guess you blocked everybody, right?
There you are. You're good. You're good now. You're good.
And I was just getting ready to go take a run. So. Sorry about that.
That's a part of the wellness, Chris. You're exercising. It's a part of the wellness.
Good morning,
Chris. I'll give you a little bit. By the way, thanks, Nadine. Thanks for the opportunity. Putting me on the spot, by the way. No, I think our businesses in our community is critical, and they're different in terms of how they work, what they do, and our life experiences are different because we've gone through a lot. Even just Black businesses have gone through a significant challenge over the years, and getting financing, having ability to do a number of things. And the BBPA has been gracious. I say that getting into the programs that they're doing, and Nadine talked about a few of those programs, really to help those businesses and to not have them stick their hands in their pocket to get a lot of things done. But the critical things about these businesses, trust, obviously, because they've been disappointed so many times in the past that it's difficult to get the trust of these businesses. But when they get your trust, then they will work with you. And there's a lot of things that they need. We have to start from scratch with these businesses, not, sometimes they have strategies or policies or structures. Most of the businesses are they're startups, people who just found themselves there, or people have been in business for a number of years that haven't gone through that structure to make sure that they can carry through the way that they should. So having the support that BBP is providing for them through a number of different avenues, getting business plans done, getting the finances up to date, but also giving them customer service, soft skills, ways to deal with customers, ways to sort of get their businesses looking and feeling the way that they should feel. So when people look at them, they really could see them as competitive in the environment. They spent the last 10 years struggling with that, the LRT, the Metro links in that area really pushed a lot of businesses lower and out of the area. And now that they are coming back, it's a little bit difficult for them. And knowing that we approaching, hopefully not, but a recession next year, a lot of people are worried and challenged and concerned about what will happen and how would they manage. So these programs are typical in terms of giving them the information and giving them a confidence. So I'm not going to say a lot more, but thanks for giving me an opportunity to speak here, Nadine. But good job that you're doing right now within that area. And we have some of those businesses that are successful and will continue to be over the years.
Great. And if you can see my screen, are you able to see my screen?
Yes,
I just shared my screen, and you see that the vast crowd at the Sinting?
Definitely so.
Yes. And so for us, this really was quite a remarkable success, because imagine that we have this one area that have experienced, challenges based on, not just COVID, but as we discussed the expansion, the Metrolinx, the crosstown expansion. But we had an event, the BBPA hosted an event, and this was the result. As they say in law, res ispa loquitur, the thing speaks for itself. So it means that all of these individuals that showed up was able to go into all those stores, make purchases, and just enable the viability of some of those businesses. So, we're very proud. This is one of the, big things that we had done over the summer. We did a big Sinting.
Excellent. And obviously understanding some of the challenges that our businesses face on Eglinton Avenue West in the city of Toronto, but right across the country in terms of just the realities of obviously pandemic, and then there's anti-Black racism, and just bringing a spotlight to show that we have entrepreneurs and we've got established businesses in every aspect of what business is what the BBPA does so well in terms of just bringing them opportunities, but also, again, putting some spotlight on the great work that we do. So what's in store for Black businesses moving forward? This, I guess, starting from this fall, like what are we having to continue to catapult and just bring light to the great work that our people are doing in business?
Sure, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but our president, Ross Kadas, is here, and I just wanted Ross to, can we unmute Ross for a moment? Ross, I know today is the day of putting you all on the spot.
Talk about spotlight, but we're literally putting them on.
We're spotlighting everybody. So Ross, are you able to be spotlighted? We would like to have our president, Ross, come on, Ross Kadas, and say a few words. Go ahead, Ross. And I'm going to pull up my next video, Roderick.
Okay, morning. Good morning, everybody. I can't come on camera this morning. I'm actually on my way downtown to meet with some children, some youth, to talk to them about their careers. So I thought I would check in and take in part of our community space on my way there. But I'd like to, I'm very happy and excited that community space is back and all of our programming is back. There's a lot of good content that Nadine and the team have been putting together to really share information, give us the learnings that we need, but also an opportunity for us to network as a Black community, to learn from each other and really develop capacity for our community. So Nadine, I'm not sure what you wanted me to cover by being spotlighted, but all I would say is thank you so much for all of you. Thank you, Rod, for being back as hosting some of our programming, and I look forward to enjoying the content that we've put forward over the next little while.
Absolutely. And we just wanted to spotlight you, Mr. Kadas, or as we know you as Ross, for all the great work that you're doing, and also putting forth Black business at the forefront and making it happen, not just talking the talk, but walking the walk, and creating opportunities and just greater leveling opportunity for businesses to scale up and to get the deserving credit and also support from communities, not just the Black community, but all community. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to echo that, Rod, with Ross. Last Sunday, Ross and I met Sunday at 7 a.m. So it just goes to show you the commitment that your BBPA team has for the community. 7 o'clock on a Sunday, he could be home with his family and I could just be wrapped up under my blanket. But we very much care about the work we do in the community. And, you know, I just saw the Woman King, which I absolutely loved. I will be dressed up in that costume for Halloween. And, you know, she says, you know, we fight or we die. And what the fight means is, you know, maybe it's not literal, but the fight means showing up like we're showing up today. The fight means making those extra steps, waking up early. You know, Chris is going for a run. That's part of the fight. He's keeping healthy. You know, Ross and I were, you know, Ross is going to talk to students today, to Black youth, about, you know, careers and so forth. You know, we're up at the crack of dawn, and that's part of the fight. You know, it's either we fight truly or we die. And as we look at generational wealth and legacy in our Black community, those are the things that we have to do, we must do. When this program is on, you know, as Roderick says, tell a friend to tell a friend. It is part of that communication that we have to have, that we spread out and we share the information and we bring others in, because the way we're going to enable ourselves and our future is by being part of that ecosystem that brings each other in. We're continuing the dialogue, we're continuing the communication, and we're continuing to collaborate and lean on each other. And so Ross, I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you that when we share ideas, it's always in a safe space. And we know we have one agenda, and that one agenda is to build and bring and support the Black community and bring us forward. So I want to thank you for that, Ross. Just more than just your friendship, but your ongoing support. So merci. So ongoing, Rod, I will now share my video of you asked me what's next, and this is what's next. One second, let me share the sound. And we're good.
All right. You want to put it on the view. The Business Advisory Implementation Development Service. The BATES program is a major step forward. Start again.
You can see
put it on full screen view.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I see what you mean. Okay, I will. Okay, so you can see in here?
Yeah, we could see, absolutely could see, but just
and can you hear as well?
Yes, we can, but it's on the right side of the screen.
I know where it is. I'll start it out.
Yeah, there we go. The Business Advisory Implementation Development Service. The BATES program is a major step forward.
I believe in the economy of women. I believe in creating our own space, creating our own financial freedom.
How do you get business? How do you get financing? How do you get approved for government loans?
We have to understand and recognize what the barriers are. And then we work to break those barriers down.
We're going to sit with you and we're going to wrap you around the best experts we have.
So time is money. The more time you lose, the more money you're losing.
Success does leave clues. And if you pick up on those clues, you too can ascend in that same path.
As an organization, we've really made specific efforts to help you pivot so that you can thrive.
All right. Great video.
That's what's on the roster.
Okay. So let's just break that down really quick. So Mondays, I saw that we have programming Mondays, almost every day of the week.
Almost every day of the week.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So Business Incubator. Tell us a little bit about that. What's going to be happening on Business Incubator?
We have two business incubators. One of them is the Business Plan Business Incubator, and that's a very small group of maybe 5 to 10 individuals that will meet on a weekly basis. And you have two experts that will literally go through your business plan, one at a time, go through all the details and the nuances of your business plan. So you're ready for business growth, you're ready for a loan, and that's the business incubator, the Business Plan Incubator. The other incubator that we're having, that's starting the end of October, it's the Marketing Incubator. One of the things that businesses need is marketing. And, you know, as I sit in that space, you know, I always say that you could find the cure for cancer tomorrow, but if it's not marketed, no lives will be saved. And so marketing is very important for your business. You know, one of the things we've recognized is that individuals, they create a business plan, wonderful business plan, and there's no way to market it. I remembered meeting a woman and she had these greta, in Jamaica, they call them greta cake, right? So it's coconut drops, and she had infused it with flax seeds and apricots, and it was just incredible. The packaging was great, the product was great. And then I asked her, so what's your strategy for letting everybody know about this great product? And she had no strategy for it. So marketing is critical for your business. And so we have a marketing incubator over 13 weeks that we'll have leading marketing experts from Ogilvy, from York University, from Sidley, from different industries that will work with the businesses on their marketing plan, on their brand persona, on their audience engagement, on their market research. So they're able to put their business forward, their brand positioning of their business in the best way. And, you know, Roderick, I think, you know, this program not only will work on their businesses, but you as the entrepreneur as well. How do you position yourself as part of that? Included in that will be networking, because I see networking as part of your brand asset as well. As you go into a room and you talk about your business, there's a way to do it. And so in the marketing incubator, that's going to be part of it. So very excited about the evolution that came from our BAIDS program. And that's an evolution of the BAIDS in those two areas, the marketing incubator and also the business plan incubator.
Right. So for individuals who are interested in joining either incubator, how do they get involved? Because it sounds obviously like it's going to be an opportunity to not just gather and take in information, but to apply it to their own businesses. How do businesses get involved?
Absolutely. So you sign up online, bbpa.org/programs, and then all the program roster is there, and then you're able to sign up. And if we have overcapacity, what we will do is then expand and extend that programming. If we have capacity.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and that's one of the great opportunities we have at the BBPA. You know, we talk to members, we find out what's needed, and then we create custom programs based on audience persona, which is what the individuals need in their businesses. And so we really very much encourage each individual to come on board, look at the programs page, and find out which program is right for you.
Right. And I've just got to touch on Rise Up. So Rise Up is back, and Rise Up is for females, entrepreneurs, in terms of creating a business pitch. But before they do their pitch, they go through tutoring and then mentoring to get them ready for this big pitch. And it's changing up a little bit this year. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, this year, what we recognized last year is that the program ran for about 2 months, and we had a really, really tight schedule of women working quickly to get their pitch together. And as part of putting their pitch together, we would have them go through a series of workshops, and then they pitch to industry specialists, you know, in different fields. In the finance field, we had people from Loblaw that participated. We had individuals from RBC, from BMO. So, you know, they're getting expert advice on their businesses from industry leaders from a variety of fields. But we recognize that the timing was a little bit too short. So what we've done is expanded the program. We started in September. So they have now 4 months to go through their pitch, define, develop their marketing plan, their business plan, their financial statements, and practice. In that program, we have mentors as well, who will be part of enabling and engaging with the participants. So finally, when they get to the big pitch, they're ready, super ready. Well, you know what's one of the big wins in the program, Rod, that people have commented on? The fact that, you know, one woman said to me, I didn't win the money. I didn't get the money. But what I got was even probably more valuable than the money, because now I understand what it is that I need in my marketing plan. I know what I need in my business plan. I know what I need to formulate and put together a pitch. Like, one of the things we do is we talk to the individuals about, you've got 2 minutes. You've got 2 minutes to make an impression on the judges. So as you show up on screen, what does your background look like? What do you look like? You know, how can you refine your pitch that if something goes wrong with technology, and you know, sometimes technology does fail us, If everything shuts down, what will happen to your pitch? So those are some of the things we guide the participants through. So now they've got even more time to prepare. And then in partnership with the Globe and Mail in April for International Women's Day, that's when the big pitch will happen. So again, look at the stage we've set for these entrepreneurs. We'll be downtown at the Globe's building, which is a fantastic space. And it is in that great environment that they will then launch their businesses in many areas, or they will then champion their business, and then we'll decide then the 8 women that will get the $10,000. So we're very excited.
And that sounds incredible. And I know from last Rise Up, some of the women, just catching up with them in recent weeks, are doing some amazing things. We've seen some products in Yorkdale Mall. Obviously, some people are doing some international business. So the pitch literally has launched them even further into the aspects of wherever they've been concentrating, and obviously investing not just their time but their money to scale their businesses and also grow from a human perspective of watching and seeing it happen before their eyes. So again, kudos to the BBPA and all the women that have been participating in the Rise Up pitch. And as you rightfully said, there is no losses, even if you didn't go on to get that $10,000. There's lessons, and those lessons can obviously project somebody to even a larger space than just what that money can do for them initially.
Yeah, absolutely. And Roderick, just one story I want to share. I look at Kadeja, who went through the pitch competition, and she bossed it and won. And then she was hosted, she attended the Black Summit, the National Black Summit in Halifax. So again, she had an opportunity to talk about her business in a very public, big, bold way, traveling, which is, really, as you grow and evolve your business, that's part of your marketing plan. That's part of the next step in your business. And then I saw her the other day in another competition, just doing her thing. And when I look at that, she came from one program, and then with the BBP and the Rise Up Pitch competition, she was able to continue refining her product, refining her process, and refining her pitch. And now she's not afraid to fly. And that's what we want for all entrepreneurs. So I know that you're moving on to your next guest, but I did want to share that, as you know, we announced that the BBPA is on a mission to raise $40 million that will enable 10,000 businesses across the country. And part of that is seeing individuals like Kadeja, like the individuals we see in our program, is having the resources to do that. So you can imagine, Roderick, what that 10,000 businesses is going to mean to our economy when we've enabled them to formalize their business, to build a sustainable plan for the future, not just for them, but for their children. But we can see what this is going to mean to our community. So I'm really thrilled about that. And I'd like you all to, as we launch the campaign, to see how you can be a part of it. Because, an investment in our community, they're all our children. An investment in our community is an investment in our legacy. And when we talk about generational wealth, which is what this program is about, it is really one of the first steps of many that we will have for our community. So I thank you in advance for joining us in that capacity, and do look out for the information as we launch, because we want you to all be a part of this and all be brand ambassadors and champion this work. And this is how we can do it. It's baby steps, but if we all ripple together, it'll be a big splash.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you mentioned intergenerational wealth, and that being a focus of the BBPA, because when we can hand down to our children or to our families more than just knowledge and wisdom, but actual businesses that are viable and that are thriving, it creates not just opportunities for us, but for our community in general. And we understand, obviously, that financial independence is a must. And not to say that you can't go and get a traditional 9-to-5 and work for somebody, but we understand in terms of the limitations that obviously quote unquote jobs may have. But as an entrepreneur or as a business owner, the sky's the limit. And it's not just about the money, but it's also the accessibility that money and monetary value brings. And then obviously, I think in our community, we're making huge, tremendous strides. strides, but there's always more to do. And obviously, we know that we've got a lot of Black youth who are looking for opportunities and jobs and training and whatnot, a better space to start within our own community. And having that ownership brings pride, and it brings a sense of value to continue to just expand on, you know, who we are and just to tap into our excellence. So on that note, thank you very much, Nadine Spencer, CEO of the Black Business Professional Association, for joining us this morning here on Community Space. And just as we're, I guess, talking about intergenerational wealth, we're going to bring on the next generation of business, and it'll be none than the other Danielle Spencer. Good morning, Danielle.
Hello again.
And again, how are you this morning? For those people who don't know you, we're gonna do a formal introduction of what you're doing in terms of business, but also how intergenerational wealth is important to yourself as a mother, and obviously as a child of a business person who's doing extremely well. But yeah, tell us a little bit about what you do right here, right now. Some of the roles that you do.
Yeah, so a little bit about me is so I was raised by a serial entrepreneur. My mother was somebody who could not stick within corporate Canada because it never worked for her. We all know what it's like for Black women, especially in predominantly white male spaces. And so she just created her own spaces. And I always just absolutely loved that. And it was just something that really appealed to me as I started creating my own career and stepping into professional life. And so now I run Brandy Q Agency, which is a communications, branding, and marketing group where we focus on helping companies develop a number of different initiatives that they have going on. We are working in diversity, equity, and inclusion spaces. We do advertisement, we do branding, we really do it all. So we are a full service agency. So we have lots going on in that realm.
Right.
Additionally, I have, in the pandemic, I started a business because I recognized a gap in the market with my own daughter and being a parent. And it was something I just dipped my toes into really quickly one night and just immediately got very quickly engulfed in. And now the company is about to launch with Jessica Alba's The Honest Company. We're with Indigo. We have our own platform with Linen Chest, Best Buy. So we stay busy over there as well. And then apart from all of that, I'm also a mom. So, you know, as you said, intergenerational wealth from my mom to me, from me to my kids. So having two little people who rely on you every single day, and, you know, the price of diapers,
Oh my God.
financial literacy, and being able to be financially responsible is very, very important. And for me, it's something that has been a lesson that I can't even say just taken, because it's not a one-time thing where you learn financial literacy and financial responsibility. It's ongoing all the time. It's discipline that you need to implement every single day. And even when you fall off the wagon a little bit here and there, it's still then about getting back on and recognizing where it is that you have goals and where you need to make certain cutbacks on, where it is that you're working towards, and pieces like that. So yeah, that's me.
Absolutely. So thinking back, I guess, when you were just watching your mother as that serial entrepreneur, what were, I'd say, the top three things that you learned about just stepping into business?
Yeah. So my mom used to have a food company called, well, two different ones. We had Finer Foods and we also had Q Gourmet. And seeing what she was like in that industry versus where she is now, what I love about where she is now is that she's so brilliant. She's so smart and she's so strategic. And she has found a way to better monetize that, as opposed to working in an industry that relies on inventory and product. And so I kind of figured that was where I wanted to go, like the direction that I wanted to go when I was an entrepreneur. I wanted to have a skill set that I was able to monetize and that I was able to, you know, create a business in and be able to work for myself with, as opposed to having, you know, capital to put into you know, inventory and actually maintaining stock and replenishing that. And it's funny because now I work in both. Like I have a
Right,
skill
right.
that I work in, but I also have the business. And between the two, I mind you, when you find a business and something that you're able to work and that you're able to grow, run with it. You always figure it out. But I think that being able to have a skill set that you're able to tap into is great. And so for me, watching her, that was the key direction that I wanted to go in. I did end up in the other place as well, so that's okay. But having a skill set, honing it, being great at what you do, being known for being great at what you do, and being able to really, really tap into that is key.
Right. And I guess just being in an environment where you saw it and you smelled it and you lived it, it almost was a tutelage for yourself to step into those shoes and then obviously define who you are through your interests and your personality traits and your skill sets, which led you to doing your thing, right? But what would you suggest for people who don't have that? You know, there may be, you know, the first persons in their families to be, you know, venturing out into entrepreneurship. How would they start? You know, obviously having that idea and that passion is huge, but as we know, it takes a little bit more than obviously just having an idea and passion. It takes capital, it takes, you know, obviously time and investment. But what would you recommend for those entrepreneurs who are just about to step out or who are thinking about or contemplating, you know, going into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, and to that, I would say a couple of different things. So the first is that oftentimes I hear people say, you know, I see people, they have exactly what I want and they have the things that, you know, I'm working towards and I just don't have them yet. I don't understand why. And oftentimes I think that if you look at the work ethic and the work that goes into it, oftentimes the difference between the people who have the things that you want, and I don't mean like nepotism babies, I mean like the average working person who's very much comparable to you, is consistency. Consistency, consistency, consistency. I find that oftentimes we wait for motivation to hit us and we wait for the right timing. And as somebody who has, you know, started businesses where I really planned and I had official launches that just completely failed. And then my business that I have now, where it was just very random and I didn't even have time to line up my ducks. I just grabbed what I could and I started running. It's that piece of consistency, just always going, always recognizing that you're not always going to be in the mood to work. You're not always going to be in the mood to do outreach to people to hear your business ideas. And it's about getting outside of your comfort zone and maintaining that consistency. Another thing I find is really important is always having the audacity to ask. Oftentimes I feel like people think like, I'm not there yet. Don't need to be aligning with this person just now. I'm not prepared to ask somebody for something. I think that in entrepreneurship, you should always have your base level set. You should always know exactly what it is that your business is about, what it is that you're doing, what it is that you're working towards, what your goals are, and not in a broad sense, you should actually know what milestones you intend on hitting within the next 3, 6, 12 months, as well as the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. You should always have that map ready to go and be ready to talk about it. Because if you don't, then you don't have a full, robust understanding of your business. And if you don't have that, it's a big deal. It's a big deal
Yeah.
because you should know more about your business than anybody else. And you should be able to answer questions about your business that people will have in any regard.
Right.
So just always be prepared because you also never know when opportunities will show up.
Right.
And then another piece to what it is that you just asked, you know, in terms of people who are first generation and just trying to figure it out. One thing that I heard that has really helped me in my entrepreneurial journey is that don't chase money, chase purpose, and enjoy. You will find wealth. I find that when we work in areas that we're passionate about and that we're happy to do the work, whether we get paid or not, and oftentimes where people are like, oh, like you're undercharging, you are not charging remotely enough. We don't even realize because we're just so into the joy of what it is that we're doing. We just absolutely love it. And I find that if you have that piece down pat, the money will come. The money will always come if you have joy and purpose. And so find that in what it is that you want to do and working for yourself. And then I find that everything else will flow well.
Absolutely. And I really liked what you talked about in terms of just having that vision for
Yeah.
yourself. And in the work that we do, we talk about speaking it into existence, right? And obviously, it's not just a job, it's a role, it's an extension of who you are as an individual. And having that vision for 3 months, 6 months, and a year or 2 years moving forward is integral in the sense of you seeing yourself not just in the same position, but growing and in that role as whatever you're endeavoring to do. Because again, seeing is believing, and you have to see yourself in these positions. So definitely one of the key functions is visualizing what you are going to be and in that role, right? You know, as controversial as Kanye West or Ye West is right now, when he initially started, he wrote his initial Grammy speech, what he would be talking about at the Grammys before he even stepped on the stage, right? So he saw himself in that position, and I think, you know, as business owners and as Black business owners, we also have to have that vision for ourselves to see exactly where we're going to be positioned, and just by the not just by the stars aligning, but you know, by hard work, commitment, and everything that it takes to be an expert and to be the best, even if you're not at the highest pay grade within your role, but to be the best and working towards that is essential for key aspects of business.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And even what you're saying about like stars aligning, I am a huge believer in manifestation, but more in the sense that it's not so much that you believe it's going to happen for you, but in the sense that you believe that it already exists. So I know that me a year from now already has everything that I want. And so for me, it's about positioning myself now and knowing what it is that I need to do in order to be her, because she already has it. I'm just trying to catch up to her. And
Yeah.
so I think that, you know, what's great is that whenever I come onto these sessions, I see entrepreneurs who have started their own businesses, and I've heard their stories from, you know, I'm just starting to, you know, I just got my fifth client and I'm growing a little bit more and I've seen success and the program's helping me in this way. And what I love about the resilience of entrepreneurs is that we know we're not meant to be working for somebody else. We know it in our bones that we're not supposed to be working for somebody else.
Absolutely, 100%.
But for me, it's like whenever I hear that and I see that from people, it's because they know that them 5 years from now is not working for somebody else. So you can't be pulled in that direction when that's not where you exist in the future tense. So when you're an entrepreneur, like be patient with yourself. If you know you can't work for another person, it's because you're not supposed to. So be patient with yourself. And I think that the key part about being an entrepreneur is recognizing your blind spots and knowing what you don't know. Because when you figure those things out, oh, there's no stopping you. There's no stopping you. It's
Yes.
just, yeah.
And then, you know, they say people who avoid failure also avoid success. And
Yeah.
then sometimes fear is the biggest inhibitor of success. So,
Yeah.
how do people, from your perspective, get over that just initial fear? Because you know what, you know, you may not make it, and you know, you may be, you know, putting a lot of money into your initial idea, or you know, how do we get over fear? Because fear is real.
Yeah. And to that, I always say your time is the most valuable thing that you have. So how can you maximize that? Because you can always get money back.
Mhm.
You can never get your time back. And
100%.
I find that with that, it's you have to be brave. You have no choice but to, because if you waste your time over something over the next 3 months, that's 3 months gone that you're never going to get back. So be wary of your time and recognize where you can best use it. And when it comes to fear of asking or trying to be somewhere and get something that it is that I want for my business, I used to be like, oh, like I can't ask. Like if they say no, like that's so embarrassing. Like it's embarrassing, or like I feel like I haven't like done the work hard enough, or I'm not positioned where I'm supposed to be. And the way I look at it is, if I know that I'm 50 no's away from a yes, you better believe I'm chasing those no's as hard as I can. I'm going to ask anybody and everybody for what I want, because the moment you tell me no, I'm like, amazing, 49 left, let's go. Chase those no's, because every single time somebody tells you no, you'll go back and you'll look at your app and you'll be like, okay, how can I restructure this? An example of this is we have our Baloo baby shoot coming up next week. And last year we gave out these goodie bags, and we asked Majority to give a gift, because at the time I was like, if they say no, they say no. It's okay. Like, whatever. It's fine. I used to just be like, if somebody tells you no, like if you ask for something, the worst thing somebody can tell you is no. So it's okay. So just ask. So I used to be like, okay, just ask. It's okay. And so when I shifted that mindset to I'm 50 no's away from a yes, now I actively go after those no's, because somebody's going to tell me yes. So again, going back to the shoot, I was like, hey, I want to make the goodie bags bigger this year. I want to have a real emphasis and focus on mental health and creating space for self-care for these moms who are coming in. And I want to give them some great goodie bags. I don't really want to pay for these goodie bags though. So I started reaching out to companies who have products that I just absolutely loved this year, just absolutely loved. And because I was just willing to literally email and message anybody from these companies, the first person who said yes was Intelligent Change, and they make the 5-minute. I literally have it right here. I have it right here. I use it every single day, and it's just this journal that mine's literally falling apart. That's how much I use it. But I write in it every single day, and it just really keeps me grounded, and it's really helped me just try and find and establish my purpose. So I found their director of partnerships on LinkedIn. I don't even know her. And I sent her a message. I was just like, your product means a lot to me. I would love to include it to these women. And she was just like, she sent me a message back, and she was like, yeah, absolutely. Send me an email and let's talk. And I was like, this is amazing. I just started shooting off. I immediately upgraded my LinkedIn account so I could do in-mail messages. And I just emailing anybody and everybody who had the title partnerships, collaborations, influencers, PR, media outreach, anything in that title on LinkedIn. I emailed them if they were from a company that I genuinely love and enjoy. I started reaching out to companies directly on Instagram. I started just doing Google searches of their press emails, and now our list of sponsors has gone up, and now we're working with Majority again. We have Intelligent Change. Khadijah's sending us some amazing products for the mums as well. We have this amazing doll company called Zuri and Dre. We have products coming in from 437, which is this amazing swimwear and fitness wear brand. We have products that are coming in from Linen Chest. We got stuff coming in from Sephora. So chase those no's.
And this is just from the ask. Nothing tried, nothing gained. And again, you have nothing to lose when it comes down to asking, right?
Absolutely. So, I'm like, this is great, because I'll just go back and I'll look and be like, okay, how can I ask a little bit better? Because oftentimes they'll also respond with, it's not the right time. We can't, we don't have the budget for it at this time. We're heading into holidays, so we're busy. So now I also now know for next year how to go ahead and ask. So you'll always learn something from a no, but you're also about 50 away from a yes. So chase them hard.
Chase them hard. And last but not least, our good friend Chris Alexander mentioned that, the economists are saying right now that we may be headed into a recession. And obviously we know throughout the pandemic, things were definitely challenging, but some businesses, created so much wealth throughout the pandemic that they recognized the opportunity, they pivoted, and then they went and got it. So, any advice now, if we do run into this recession, for any of the entrepreneurs who are thinking about launching and how to launch, and I guess how to, read not just read the room, but read the climate, and how to make sure that they're getting their businesses out, because at some points in time when people are having a difficult time, as we know, other people are being able to flourish. So, what would you suggest for those people?
Yeah, and to that, I would say that there are always people who come out of the other side of economic downturn flourishing, just
Hmm.
better than how they went into it.
Hmm.
So, to that, I would say recognize that when a recession or some type of economic turmoil is coming up, that's not the time to not be financially smart. A lot of the time, whenever there is an economic activity happening like that, that's the best time to get into the stock market. That's the best time to, be investing, and to just really be watching your coins, but not necessarily just saving, because there is opportunity to make your money grow. Talk to somebody who is an expert in that field, who's better able to guide you. If you're able to do your own research, you can do that as well. But I think that it's always better to get in touch with an actual expert who can help guide you. But there's always opportunity, even when things are bad. And then when something comes up like this and you're trying to pivot in your business, really be aware. Your head should be on a swivel, looking around to see where can I make opportunity. Maybe it's not doing what you're doing. An example of this is that a friend of mine, she owns this fabulous swimwear company. Now she's expanded into apparel, but at the time it was just swimwear before we went into the pandemic. And when the pandemic came, nobody was going on vacation. Nobody was buying swimwear from her. And she was like, well, I got to sell something. Like,
Yeah.
like, I sell things. I need something to sell. She started selling masks. She just pivoted and she started making masks because they were sold out everywhere. So she had like this fabulous fabric. She just started making these stunning masks because
Yes.
nobody could buy them anywhere because they were sold out. And she just went, like, she just went. And
Flourished.
yeah, absolutely. And then the demand for her masks, she ended up having to outsource and do imports, but she maintained the incredible designs, and she ended up just getting into fun masks. And it was great, and it really, really, really worked out well for her because nobody was going on vacation, nobody was going to the pool, nobody was spending $150 to $200 on a swimsuit because it just wasn't necessary. But she ended up finding somewhere that was adjacent to her skill set, and she was able to monetize off of that. And I thought that that was really amazing. So look for where there's opportunity to pivot, because there always is, and recognize that you can come out of this better than how you went in. You just have to look about how you can go about that.
And being able to pivot, and also recognize opportunities, and find solutions. And I always talk about finding solutions to a problem, either that is existing or that you could potentially see, coming down the line, and doing so and having something that a product or a solution for somebody's issue is always going to, bring that monetary value to yourself. So
Absolutely. And
on
if,
that,
if you're
sorry.
unaware of the solution that you are offering to people, if you're like, well, nobody's asking me, you need to find a problem. So go look for a problem that you can offer free.
Absolutely, 100%. It's not to say you create a problem, but you might bring that problem to light.
Find a problem.
That,
Find a problem that you
yeah,
can offer
absolutely, 100%. I mean, and there's no shame in the game.
No,
All
none at
right.
all.
We're gonna just go to our people here in the Zoom room. If there's any questions or comments for ourselves today, we're gonna do a shorter version today, and we're gonna be back next week with our hour and a half. But is there any comments, questions, queries for us here on Community Space today? And if you just want to just come out and then just share who you are, it's family. it's that community vibe, that spirit. So we're always wanting to hear you and hear what you're up to and where we're going to be going with your business or just with what you have going on in your life. I see our treasurer from the BBPA here this morning with us. Good morning, Michael Pinnock. Sir Michael Pinnock, how are you, my brother? And you're on mute, my brother. If we could have Michael unmuted, that'd be great. Okay, do we got Michael unmuted? Not yet.
Thank you
There he
very
goes.
much,
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Honorable Roderick and the most beautiful and gorgeous Danielle. Yeah, I'm just dropping in late, but it's better late than never.
Absolutely.
It's really a pleasure to see the program up and running again, and just to let the folks know that we weren't off. We were just repivoting and
Calibrating.
recalibrating, and we're gonna come back big and bad and bold this time around. It's really nice to come on a Saturday morning and see the familiar faces and be able to talk about the familiar things.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for for back in the saddle.
And for all of those of you right now who don't know Michael, he is the treasurer of the BBPA. He also is the brainchild behind the BAIDS, the BAIDS program, which has helped so many businesses not just get off their feet, but to get to that next level with the investment of business services and helping develop those businesses. And it's been a key instrumental product that the BBPA has recently put out. And we just wanted to also recognize you, Michael, and say thank you for all that you do here at the BBPA. And obviously we couldn't get, anything done without you in terms of this being at that helm of the treasurer's position. So thank you.
And I just want to say it has been and continue to be a teamwork. I wouldn't have been able to do it alone. I see Nadine is here. I can tell you, we spend more hours together in a different culture. Should be my wife. We spend more hours together just bantering and going through stuff and agreeing to disagree and agreeing to agree. I just we gone real international. Jose out of South Africa is with us.
Jose.
Well, which is great, and one of these days, not too long from now, we'll be broadcasting the community speech from Johannesburg.
100%.
We'll probably do that out of Nelson Mandela's museum.
Yes, sir.
So Jose, start to work on that for us.
Definitely.
And let us know what we need to do. But again, it's a teamwork,
Yes.
And in the Black space, they said there's no I in team, but there's a me. I would just have to be careful we don't let the me control too much of what we do. But it has been a teamwork, Roderick, has been a teamwork. Everyone that is on the board has played their part and continue to play their part. And we hope to just grow from strides to strides. And whatever we did last time, we'll double our efforts and do much better this time going forward. So as you know, I'm here. I'll always make myself available. In fact, one of the reasons why I came on late is that I'm working on some client stuff to get the face.
Okay.
And I worked very late last night, and as I get up, I'm working. Then I realized, my God, it's after 10. So I just jump in and decide, let me see what's at the bottom end, because I know we tend to go from 10 to 11:30.
Yeah.
I hope I would have catch, the last half, but it's all good, and it's good to see the amount of folks on the chat this morning. It's a good core number that we have to work with. As the academic people say, a classroom of 30 is a big class. So we have 39 or 40 or whatever it was. It's a big class, and we just need to grow. And you see, Roderick, tell a friend to tell a friend.
100%. That is our mantra, to tell a friend to join us. It's never too late.
Absolutely.
And this is just the beginning. And I'm going to let a little bit of the cat out the bag. And once a month, we're going to be at somebody's business right now in the GTA, but we're going to be sending out just if people have businesses and they would like us to come and join them in their business and then interview them, and also just to catch a little bit about what's happening within that aspect of business that they're doing. That is going to be a new feature of Community Space. So we are going to be not just stationary, we're going to be in the communities across the country and maybe even in Johannesburg or whatever part of South Africa Jose is from, but just around the world, taking it to the community. That is all about Community Space, 100%, because we're not just in one space, we're in the entire globe, or we're in the entire earth that we live in here, and then we're occupying that space. So it's definitely something that we're going to be looking forward to. All right. Did we have anybody else who wanted to say good morning just here on this first episode on Community Space? And just to say good morning and what you're looking forward to. All right. So we've got Olantian. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Good morning. And if you could, if it's possible to come on camera and have her unmuted, that'd be great. And then we also have Natasha. All right, so if Javon, if you could unmute them, that'd be great. So we can start with Natasha. She's on camera. All right, yeah, you're going to be on. Oh, there you go. I believe you're there with us right now. Good morning.
Excellent. Good morning. Good morning. Let me put on my light this morning. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. So I'm Natasha Pennycook. I'm an award-winning psychotherapist, and I provide mental health support to those who are really struggling with anxiety, with trauma, with childhood, things that have come up, family dysfunction. I have a fabulous team of all Black women therapists to serve you. So we work with individuals, couples, families. We work with youth 16 plus. Definitely connect with us. We're serving right now virtually, of course. So we're connecting with people all across Ontario. We have clients who are in Ottawa. We have clients who are in Windsor, London, Niagara, of course, here in the GTA. So definitely connect. I know with the pandemic, mental health has been a struggle for literally all of us. So don't do this alone. One thing I love about BBPA is that they really work to talk about community and a community vibe and wellness, and our mental health is a part of that. And I think as Black peoples, we have to start understanding that mental health is a part of our business health, a part of our generational wealth, and we really have to think more about our mental health. So my team is there to work with you.
Thank you very much for that, Natasha. And if you could please leave your contact information in the chat, because we definitely do know that mental health, obviously within the Black community, has some aspect of stigma, but mental wellness is key in not just thriving and surviving some of the twists and the turns that inevitably we all will have to go through at some point in time. But it's to sustain good wellness it's obviously an investment that we all should be making. And if we had to ask you for one tip in terms of maintaining good mental wellness or positive mental wellness, what would that be this morning?
Yeah, great question. I think one tip I would have is connect, right? We are peoples, especially as a Black community of Black communities, we love to connect. We're social beings. So connect. Of course, there is a lot of stigmas that still exist around mental health. However, we need to connect. The more we talk about it, that will help to decrease the stigma. So definitely connect with those around you. If you're struggling, don't go at it alone. A lot of times we have this mentality where, I have to keep it inside. I will figure it out. I have to do it on my own. I can't ask for help. Let's squash that. Let's ask for help and reach out.
All right. Okay. And again, thank you very much for sharing that, Natasha. And if you could share your information in the chat, and we encourage people to reach out and connect. And then also don't wait until things manifest, or don't wait until things don't get to a point where you need that intervention. Let's do some of that positive prevention work and then invest in mental wellness, and then that definitely hopefully will get us through some of those challenging times that are inevitable within this world that we live. Anybody else would like to say good morning to us? Anybody else? If you would like to just put up that virtual hand. All right, we're going to go to Latin, I believe her name is, and hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So if we could have her come on camera and also unmuted, that'd be great.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My apologies, I'm unable to put on my camera. I have been sick for some 2 days, but when I saw this email yesterday, I thought I have to just join and just put my photos there. Please bear with me.
All right.
Yeah, my name is Olaiton. Olaiton means endless wealth. So that is the meaning in Yoruba language from Nigeria. So I have been in St. John for 8 years plus. I came for my MBA program, and the challenge is I specialized in entrepreneurship and technology management during the MBA program. And unfortunately, being a very small province that we're so much behind when it comes to Black empowerment for, entrepreneurs. I kind of struggled as a temporary resident building my first business, self-funding through my 9 to 5 employment. Oak Ridge Consulting, despite all odds, literally stayed 6 years. However, I could connect with what Danielle said, that sometimes when you're so passionate about something, even though when you're not charging people, the joy of doing something, makes that difference in what you do. So that's how Oak Ridge literally helped over 200 people immigrated to New Brunswick. They discovered New Brunswick through my page. And the highest point of it for me was this summer when I was going to just pack it all up because the funding was not coming through. I also needed to leave my 9 to 5 working with IBM then because I needed to focus on my children. So 2 things struck me in May of this year when I drove from St. John to Moncton, and I met 3 wonderful ladies who came looking for me, asking me, "Are you Oak Ridge?" I said, "Yes." And they gave me a very big hug, saying that they discovered New Brunswick through my page. They applied to school and they came through. So that literally told me that there was something I was doing right, even though I didn't get the support that I needed. So sometimes it's not just about the money, but when you're able to affect people in a way that, even not everybody, you can't know everybody, but I could get 3 testimonials and that was enough for me. So I told myself, I'm not going to pack it up. I'll just go out there and find support and continue to empower myself. Long story short, I am also one of the co-founders of the Black Business and Professional Network of New Brunswick, because it behooved us to really start helping ourselves and doing things because we've gone through a lot. We've received a lot of no's. No's. You can't do it. You can't be Black. You have to come under diversity and all whatnot. But we're thankful that regardless of it all, we self-funded ourselves and we're getting somewhere. And that's why we are also trying to see how we can have BBPA, supporters in a way, maybe mentorship, because we don't have the structure and we're struggling with a system that doesn't really see that there is a need for Black to stand. So that's why, like I said, today, regardless of being sick for 3 days, I'm going to be on this call to just share a bit of what we, business people, we go through. And by the way, Oak Ridge Consulting also helped me to understand my why. And I founded my first Black incorporated business last year, 7th Laurel Immigration Consulting. It was the 7th achievement in my 7th year of being in Canada. So I help people come to Canada at a very minute test amount because it's not everybody that can pay immigration, and a lot of people get swindled out of this out of immigration fraud. So I'm a social entrepreneur on a mission to address some challenges that we face. Thank you so much for having me today, for giving me this opportunity to speak with everyone. And I look forward to what we can have BBPA do to empower us. Connection, networking equals to empowerment and solution if we have the right people who are ready to go above and beyond to support struggling people. Thank you so much.
And thank you very much for coming on and sharing that, my sister. And persistence always champions resistance. And we definitely recognize that commitment and the courage and the challenge that we face as business owners. But at the end of the day, when we stick to it, we'll get through it. So thank you very much for not just being resilient, but for being excellent and for trailblazing also and setting the trend and the pace for other people in the province of New Brunswick also. So thank you very much. Much appreciated. All right. And on that note, we are going to say au revoir for this session. It was, again, a great beginning, and please do definitely tell a friend to check us next week, to tune in with us next week. We're going to be having more exciting guests. And this morning, we just wanted to say thank you very much to Danielle Spencer for sharing some insight as being the entrepreneur extraordinaire, the great mom, and just the overall amazing person that she is. We also wanted to thank our CEO, Nadine Spencer, for joining us and then sharing all about what the BBPA is endeavoring in. Also wanted to thank Michael Pinnock, the treasurer, for just gracing us with his presence. And definitely in a sense of Ross Kadas, who also came on and shared with us all about what the BBPA is doing and where we're going in the future. Forward first, definitely so, one step at a time. So until we meet next week, same time, same place, we look forward to seeing you here on Community Space. So tell a friend to join us here on Community Space next week, the community program that speaks the language of the community. Thank you. Take care. Community Spaces, the financial literacy program that speaks and reaches the community. Are we going to be in a better place, or are we going to be still, quote unquote, behind the 8 ball?
Because of the historical disadvantage that our community has, we most times do not have financial role models. Without that, economically and financially speaking, we'll always be at the bottom.
Keep proper books and record, because the data drives the strategy and the strategy drives the profits.
COVID-19 sort of removed a veil. It's really exposed the structural barriers that our communities face.
These last 2 years, where there's been a heightened emphasis on the well-being of Black people, has influenced the influx of funds and opportunities. The time is now. How long is that window going to be open?
We'll see you next week. And don't forget to tell a friend to join us here on Community Space